hosted by myself and my cat. He wants to be sure I hear him, you hear him. I hear you. That he's not being ignored. How can one ignore a little gravelly voice? He's not convinced. After all, I'm looking in the wrong direction. I'm looking at the wall instead of turning around and looking at him. Anyway, if you're a subscriber, thank you so much for being part of the channel. And if you are a member, thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you're watching, if you'd like to see more, I invite you to check out the channel. You can go to the playlist if you're looking for something specific, or just browse. That's what my cat says. In fact, I'm going to be back in 1 minute. Okay, let's start now. I want to do a collective reading, an open message for people who have spirits around them. Do you think you have spirits around them? Have you ever, is there a routine that you stick to quite closely? Is there a routine that you stick to quite closely? Fact. And maybe you don't really know why. Like maybe you go to the gym every morning and you exercise, you work up a good sweat. Maybe you do that twice a day. You work up a good sweat in the morning, you work up a good sweat in the afternoon or the evening before you go to sleep. You go through an extra pile of clothes and maybe you just relax, comatose every evening, right? There are patterns that you could fall into, how you either ramp up or how you de-stress out. Maybe you do that so automatically that you're not really, I don't know, thinking about it, right? You're on autopilot, those autopilot habits that we have that make up our day. Or maybe let's say every day before you go out, you put lots of, instead of working up a sweat, maybe you make a point of dressing ultra nice every day. So everything is perfect. You put, and then it's right down to, you put on the accessories, you put on your perfume. You know, you're always, even on the weekends, you could go and just have such a manufactured look and air and grace that you carry yourself to, no matter if you are at work or if you are standing in line in the grocery store. You could present yourself in such an organized or such an impeccable way that you just take it almost for granted. This is what I do. This is who I am. This is how I express myself to the world. Did you ever think that, well, no, let me take it one more step before I go into this thought I want to share. And this thought, which I'm going to explain, and we're going to look in through the tarot. Have you ever taken, following on that trend of what we do so automatically, you know, the habits and routine of our life, right? Our life, our lives, etc., however you want to phrase that. And then you stop. Have you ever stopped, like for instance, you go and exercise twice a day or once a day, and then you stop exercising, and then maybe it just feels like everything explodes, right? Maybe it doesn't have to explode in a dramatic fashion, but things just become wonky. Your whole day is thrown off. Or maybe the times when you're making sure everything is impeccable, you put on your perfume, you look nice, you smell nice. And then the day when you just grab your hair, put it in a bun, maybe you don't wash, you run out the house doing errands, right? And you're wearing like sneakers and sweats. Something along that nature. You'll say, "Oh, I'll come back at noon and I'll wash. I'll just wash when I come back." And then that day, nothing quite goes right, right? Something could be a little off, a little different. And one of the things that we could say, I think about spirits and the type of energies that we have around us that are attracted to us, that are, well, I guess I could just say attracted to us. I do think that spirits operate off of some core things. They operate off of smells, right? They like smells. That's why we have, for years, decades, generations, the whole thing about the altar and burning offerings, right? Where they definitely have a sense of smell. Maybe smell is how they taste. And they definitely have a sense of hearing. Maybe the hearing isn't quite how we would classify or talk about our experience of hearing, but there definitely is the power of vibration. The universal language of sound. Sound is nothing more than vibration through air, vibration, right? I also think that something else that spirits are attracted to is also not just the vibration of sound that we do through communication, through noise, but also the vibration of spirit. So when your activities, like for instance, I mentioned earlier, maybe you spend your evenings for a time period almost like de-stressing, comatose, right? Maybe you zone out to TV, maybe you just go to sleep, whatever it may be, right? Maybe you de-stress by writing poetry. And I think those vibrations, your energetic oral vibrations, are also something that attracts spirits. Right? You're in your brain waves are on a certain frequency, right? The frequency of when you are studying, the frequency of when you are relaxing, the frequency of when you are agitated, the frequency when you are calm. There are obviously our emotions can go and play, can jumpstart us into certain brain wave frequencies, but so can activities. And I have no doubt that there are spirits that like and encourage us to do certain behaviors. May not be writing poetry for everyone, may not be right zoning out to TV and having your mind as a blank slate. But I do think that there are spirits around us that sort of delight in those three areas. And, it's interesting when you start changing your schedule. As I said, you could be changing your schedule, changing your activities, changing what you typically do. And then there's almost like a misstep. When you're about to go and step on something, or you don't see maybe a gap, you stumble, right? There's like some sort of, in the energy, the energy when you expect, you're moving and you expect to move in a certain way, but then you don't, right? You're not getting what you expect. You're not getting the solid ground. You're not getting that step a little too high, a little too low. There's a half stumble But you get that with throughout your day or throughout your, let's say, a time period when you are changing what you do. Maybe those spirits really like, you know, the smell of your sweat as you're exercising. They really like the smell of your perfume that you put out when you go out every day. And as you go out, you're attracting more spirits that are invigorated, feeding off of those simple things that you do, those simple thought trails, activity trails that you're doing. Anyway, so that's something that I wanted to go and explore. When we talk about spirit energy, like how much are the spirits, should I say, guiding, curating, hurting? And I don't mean hurt as in HURT. I mean hurting like a sheepdog. HERD. Our activities. Are you spirit candy and they want to encourage you to continue doing a certain type of action because they find that tasty? Let's go and pull some cards around this. I'm going to do this one more time. But that's what we're going to look into. Maybe the words aren't quite what they should be, but we'll find them. I could almost do this as a pick a card, but I don't quite want to. Maybe later I will do a pick a card on this. Let's go and get a general collective message on spirits around you, a spirit magnet, being spirit candy. Well, changing yourself around could almost make you, well, could add to your stress, right? Could create stress. Let's go and get some more information here. 10 of Cups, death. I guess also too, this reading, I was thinking about, the nature of change and why is change so difficult, right? It's more than just our vibration with our physical locations. It's more than how well our energetic collaboration with the people around us. There's more to it. 9 of Swords, clarified by a 10 of Cups, death, and Hermit. Well, the nature of change. Let's go and clarify. I think I hear a meow. I am going to be back in just 1 second. Okay, so I'm back. So yeah, that's where I think it's just exploring the nature of change and transition. But surely we know that change does have a multi-layered composition. And what really eases us or lulls us into habits. I'm going to start clarifying. Let's go and dive into, I want to dive into Hermit first. And Six of Swords came out. Well, first of all, with Hermit, Hermit has Six of Swords, Queen of Swords, Page of Pentacles. This is a forceful change, right? When you are in a period of transition, maybe perhaps we could say, well, you're providing almost an ultimatum in your energy of, you have decided to change, even if it may not be exactly intentional. Like, let's say again, if you exercise every morning, you work up a good sweat every morning, but then you just get busy or get tired, and you'd rather, instead of going to the gym or running or whatever you do to work up that heart adrenaline, muscle tension rush, you work up that good sweat out running, out lifting, what have you. You just decide to go and spend that time that you would do in the morning doing other things, maybe taking a little bit more relaxing time. You spend time reading, you spend time looking at the news, looking out the window, enjoying your breakfast a bit more, composing yourself a bit more, planning out your day a little more, right? But you're putting your attention somewhere, you're shifting yourself. There's almost a culture shift. As you're doing that, you change direction. Who comes with you on this new itinerary of yours? Also, too, can this itinerary of yours, this new itinerary, be pulled back? I mean, there's lots of friction here, right? It's like you're moving forward, but then there's halts. Not quite roadblocks, but definitely speed bumps. Because you're creating something new, you're creating a new habit. Also, too, energetically, you are opening yourself. You are like shining a little beacon, a little light out. This is so twinkle, twinkle in the evening energy here. Putting a little light out for almost, shall we call them, new intelligences to accompany you, to follow you. I think that's also what the transition is. You have almost all this expectation. Well, so and so individual has this schedule, so and so individual does these things. But then when you stop doing it, think about too, if you are the type to write poetry, think about your mind, the brain wave states of your mind as you are exploring your creativity in art like that. And then let's say you stop and you put your attention or your mind on more mundane matters. Where can those intelligences that fed off of your creative alpha waves, where can they go? They're also going to go and have to find something new, someone new who matches their needs, who feeds them. Definitely the period of transition. How also too, how strong is that pull for transition to pick up to what you have always done? Again, as I said, these aren't roadblocks, but they're definitely speed bump type energies. Do you continue moving forward, or do you take a step back? You say, oh, this was a little jolting for me. This was a little jarring for me. Now I'm back to my normal state. This actually isn't quite normal state. This is definitely, or if you continue pushing forward, the anxiety as you are bringing a new wave of energy, a new wave of intelligence is in. I'm going to hold off on death. Let's look at 10 of Cups. All right, so there's a balance. And any time that you shift, could be mental state shifts. I do think they feed off of our brain waves, our alpha auric energy vibrations, our vocal vibrations through sound, also to our smells. Also, as well, thinking about smells doesn't necessarily have to be something that's so drastic as exercise or even putting perfume on. Certain areas, certain activities just cause for a higher stress than others. Think about it too. Have you ever walked into a courtroom, for instance? And then they have some rooms, I forgot what they're called, but they have, I don't know, those the places of stress, they have an odor, or even some hotels, right? That's why they say cheap hotels as opposed to nice hotels. Workspaces, there are the odors of people just emitting, let's say, that animalistic smell. Certain things just start inspiring us to maybe relax, or maybe our pulse quickens. Doesn't necessarily have to be fear, just our pulse is quickened. We're in a higher state of being alert. And as we are more alert, even if we're feeling confident, we're still preparing ourselves in that fight or flight mode to tackle. Anyway, let's go and take a look at 10 of Cups. Nine of Pentacles. Definitely a status quo here with the 10 of Cups. The easy thing to do is not really make any changes at all. I'm going to pull one more card here. The easiest thing to do is just to go and keep the status quo, but as well, where's the fun in that? In every routine, maybe this is just the nature of us as intelligences in our own right, wrapped up in our earthly body, in our own, I don't want to call it quite species, but in our own kind, right? But maybe the fact that we, as part of our experience as humans in humanity, being part of humanity, is that we do have to periodically, constantly We do have to push forward for change. We just can't go and rely on what we've always known in order, I think, for us to, I don't know, really get that full rounded 360 experience of life. We're not going to get it just by doing the same things we've always done day in and day out, not by doing the same things that we're comfortable at. Once we've reached almost a certain saturation in something, it's necessary for us to take those skills and that knowledge or that routine that we've gained, that comfort. More than anything, this is a stability, a platform for us to spring off and use that confidence, use that the smarts you've gained, the benefits you've gained to carry you through a new exploration, a new journey, new considerations. We can't live a fulfilling life otherwise. And finally, with death, I find this initial energy interesting because, as I said, this hermit is not roadblocks, but it definitely is speed bumps. And it's also, too, like in order for us to, be healthy in our own lives, in our own experience living this incarnation, or, us as who we are right now. We constantly have to push forward. Whether pushing forward is in the right direction, like let's say you exercise every day and then you just say, well, now I can't exercise every morning. I'm going to take that time and use it to relax, right? Again, enjoy that tea a bit more, enjoy that breakfast a bit more before you jump into the fray of your day. But it's necessary to keep pushing, and I do think to keep changing yourself, challenging yourself. Let's check out death. Queen of Wands. Seven of Cups, rather. I know those cards might fall out, but too many. King of Cups. Oh, this is also pretty interesting in terms of spirit candy, spirit magnetism. I do think this is almost like a pull between, you get yourself set up in a certain routine, and then expectations that we both can see and not see. Expect us to continue in those routines. And maybe too, we on the experience of humanity, when we are pushing forward for certain goals, or just pushing forward in our day-to-day life, regardless if it's routine or not, I think the most important thing here is to make sure we tap into things that we truly love. Not because we feel like we have to or we feel like we can do it. It's something that we are naturally adept to or predisposed to. Not just because you can, but because you want to. Because you want to. There's no expectations here Ironic, though, being under a Nine of Swords. There's no expectations here that really matter other than what is bringing you, yourself, satisfaction outside of what you feel you should be doing, what you could be doing, what you ought to be doing, and what you're best at. Really, the whole thing comes down to how does that make you feel? And those are the changes that you should act upon. Anyway, I'm going to leave this reading here. That's as far as I'll go with this reading for now. That's what my cat says. Lots of things he has to say. I'm not going to bother to call out signs because it's not that kind of reading, but lots of Scorpio energy, I will call that out. Lots of transformation. Also, too, transformation that truly only you would know the full extent of. It's something to keep in mind as you are trying to change your schedule, or maybe there's a schedule that you've had and you think, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, or I'm doing this and that. Why is everything now just so completely crazy and haywire? Why are things misaligned? Why are things not working out? I definitely think part of that is also the spirits that are around you, and they try and corral you, they try and herd you to being a certain way. And ultimately, well, they can make you try and feel a little insane as well as you're trying to make these changes. Why is nothing working out? Or why are things working out this way? Why are things so different now? Periods of transition. Something to think about. Anyway, this has been a Timeless Tarot reading. And I am wishing everybody the most beautiful day. Until the next reading, bye-bye.